The first thing I would like to talk about is software applications and hardware. The software application that I'm working on is Avid Media Composer HP version 6.5 XW 8400 workstation. This is a powerful industry standard editing suite. The system is an OS 64-bit Windows 7 Professional. This is the Server Pack 1. The 10 gigabyte internal RAM installed on the Avid workstation is sufficient enough for this kind of small short film project that are being edited on it. It is a non-linear editing package. The first thing I would like to explain is the difference between high definition and standard definition. These are the two types of formats which we are working at, and they are high definition and standard definition. There are many types of HD that span from 720p to 8K. I'm currently working at 720p. This means I'm working with the basic HD setting. The difference between HD and SD is quite noticeable as it has more frames in it. As you can see from the blue frame, it's 720 times 576. This means that there is 414,720 pixels in the frame. This will never change. However, in the green, it is 1280 times 720. This means that there are 921,600 pixels in the frame, and this will never change. The difference is noticeable as if you stretch the smaller image to match the 720p frame, it will be patchy and more blurry as there is less pixels in the frame. The file started as an AVC HD file. It's known as an MTS file, and importing it to the Avid converted it to an Avid movie file. Then exporting the film, it converted it to a .mov file. The file type then will still be a .mov file. This is a type of format which is used. It is usually associated with Apple's QuickTime Player. However, it can be used on Windows platforms. The Avid I'm working on is a Windows platform. This is also links to compression, as a .mov folder is a type of compressed media. In the actual product, one of my editorial goals was to make the editing in my finished version seem seamless. An edit is seamless when the story flows and it feels like there is no break from the story and the viewer doesn't really notice the cuts. I think I have been fairly successful in achieving this because my final product feels like one continuous bit of action. This links to the editing principle of continuity. This is when the mise-en-scène and the action in the frame cuts is without mistakes. Continuity is really important in film, as if it lacks continuity, then the film becomes confusing for the audience and the film will also lack character. I also paid attention to shot motivation. Motivated shots are shots that are motivated by the previous shot. For example, a close-up of the girl, even though the man was talking. This motivated me to show the close-up of the man talking. There was only one notable transition that I used, and it was a fade to colour in the beginning and a fade to black at the end. This is a really useful transition as it allows the audience to know when the film has started and when the film has finished. I feel as if the pace I used was effective because it was not too fast or too slow. I was able to find the perfect balance. For example, the man and the girl were having conversation. I used shots to show their surroundings, and it motivated the conversation. The place is slow to add a real-time effect. For example, when shots are allowed to breathe, it gets a real-time effect. This is effective because the genre of the film is social realism, and the more realistic it is, then the more I am sticking to the genre. In my final product, I included a slow-paced track which was able to build the effect that the girl was lonely and had no friends. This also continues because the main instrument I used in the sequence was a solo piano. The bass was mainly low in the keyboard range, and the treble is quite high. This creates an interesting contrast in tension. When the treble is lighter, it creates a positive outlook on the character. An advantage of working at a current Avid Media Composer suite is that a small project like the one we are working on here, the old separate processes of the offline and online edits, which used to be happen on different editing machines, are all accommodated into the same editing package here. The different video quality playback modes that are now included in the software itself enable you to work at a best quality or a lower quality. For example, by the press of a button, which is called the processing button, the format is bad but the speed is good. I use this when I was doing simple editing techniques. On the other hand, I can have it at a high format but the process speed is slow. This means I use this when viewing my final product. Thank you for listening. This is my director's notes.